Everybody, Scott Baio here. My take on life. And today we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to start out talking about age, getting older. And age is very cruel, as you all know, but it's a sort of slow cruel. It's a creeping cruel because your mind doesn't really get older. Are we going to start with the bag early?
No, but I just realized my wire's up. I guess no one cares.
Nobody cares.
Okay.
Nobody cares.
All right.
So your mind stays young, hopefully, but you don't even realize you're getting old until you realize you're not doing certain things anymore.
Like girls going out with you.
Like girls going. Well, yes. No, but you realize all of a sudden, for me, I found it was like 9 o'clock, and I'm going to bed. And when I was younger, at 9 o'clock, I was just going to dinner before I went out. And then it takes a little bit longer to get out of bed in the morning. It takes longer to get dressed. To put your shoes on is more of an event than it used to be.
Yeah.
Body parts, and again, it's incremental. It's like all of a sudden my shoulder, I go, ow, my shoulder hurts today, or I've had shoulder operations, I've had knee operations, my ankles are shot.
I'm too old for this shit.
I'm too old for this shit.
Opie, I think I'm getting too old for this stuff.
But as time goes on, you're not used so much because you don't work out at all.
No,
or do
so
anything
nothing hurts.
physical. No.
Yeah, nothing hurts.
But
my knees are great.
Right, but George did. It was a black belt karate guy when he was 12, and he had a bunch of brothers, and they were beating the crap out of each other, and
We still do.
And my body is just, I get up sore, and everybody tells me do yoga. Do yoga. I'm like, I don't want to do yoga. I just don't want to be in pain anymore. But maybe I should try yoga.
Yoga is good and from like China. Ready, go.
I have one kid, so I'm wondering if George, because you have 4, if you're 4 times older than me, because kids do age you.
My kids have been easy and they're good.
When they were
people.
young?
Well, 2 of them butted heads a little bit, but
On you?
My wife was very involved and very on top of that, and she did a good job. They turned out
You
good.
used a lot of duct tape, right? with the kids, just to
No,
keep
but it's
them
interesting
calm.
because you've got a wife that's great. I've got a great wife.
And I have nobody.
Mark is a eunuch, so he has no children.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
but kids do lend to the aging process. There's constant worrying.
I think you're right. I think
Worrying,
I and my brothers and my sister aged my parents because we had my children don't do what we did when we were growing up.
You think
We
they
would,
don't
no,
do
I mean,
what
I'm
you
saying
did.
that we would go out. We'd leave at midnight to go out on the weekend. That would be like when we.
Don't your boys do that?
Not very much. My kids were homebodies when they were home.
See,
I mean, they've
you
been
have
all over the place.
exceptionally good kids, and they're and I've met them, and they're great kids. But I think they do their own thing. But I think most people's kids in their 20s are still doing what we did in the 20s, which is going out late at night, partying.
But the thing is the aging process is what it takes its toll. Kids take the toll, especially on women. Women through the years that have kids just their bodies get ravaged. They just it's hard on them. It really is. So I find that for me, I had my daughter when I was 47.
Which is very late.
Which
to
is
have a
late
kid.
in life, but Mark, by that point, I was too tired to do anything. Right at 47, I was
not too tired to have a kid.
right. That's true. But my body was just not then. When I was 47, I was still in pretty good shape, but I'm still pretty good shape now. But there's pain in my body daily.
I find it funny that the typical signs of your body aging. Hair goes gray, or you get wrinkled, and you mock the aging process. You're
No,
complaining
George,
about-
you got to see me in the morning driving to school. I look like the wrath of God.
You
Well,
look
I
like
appreciate that.
you haven't
I-
changed that much in
But
a long time.
Don't talk about
but
me.
You
Talk
used
about
to
you.
look so young
Right.
when you were 17. You looked like you were 12.
Right.
So I think that probably followed you through because you
Maybe.
don't really look your age. You
Well,
don't.
thank you. But
And,
anyway,
you know.
move off me.
Okay.
You have a lot more experience we do in aging,
Aging.
so you should.
Wow. You wouldn't know by your outfit though. Who's the oldest one here? Yeah. Well, you know, I think you might be right because I never had kids and I never was married. I have never kind of gotten out of that perpetual. I'm still looking. I'm not done.
No, I get it. I get
and
it.
I think when you have the kid, and maybe that's good because it keeps me, and knock on wood, I don't have aches and pains. I am slower.
But you were not
getting
an
out of it.
active guy.
I was always hyper and moved around, and I wasn't into sports, but I mean, I played it when I was a kid. I mean,
Right.
I was athletic, but I run around. I was not a lazy guy, but I didn't do things like all my friends are getting knee replacements, and they're saying, why you'll never get a knee replacement?
You don't move.
You don't move. I mean,
Let me ask you guys something though. Is it as you got older? I mean, you don't go anywhere out of 3 mile circumference of your house. Was it always like that, or did it get that way?
Pretty
when you
much.
got, really?
Oh, I would go into Hollywood when I was young.
Well, the one thing that makes you change your whole pattern of no more than 2 square miles is a woman. When I was, if there was I'm very much like Scott in the sense that I had to have a restaurant real close to me. I didn't like to go far. I didn't go downtown LA. I never really liked to do this stuff. But if a girl calls you up at midnight and she lives in Burbank, all of a sudden you're in your car, you're going.
Right.
But, I was always kind of, I don't want to say lazy. I wanted people to come to my house. I would say,
So I don't want anybody at my house, but then I don't want to leave my house.
Well, I'm talking about when I was 20 and 30.
Even then. But the person, whoever said children keep you young, it's bullshit.
Oh dear. I think I know what this is. You see, Stan, as you get older, things that you used to like start looking and sounding like shit.
Children age you tremendously because you're just, especially as toddlers and when they start walking, you're constantly sitting there, oh, where's my kid? And you hear crashing and you're jumping out and you're worrying about your kid falling into this or doing that. So and because in society, and I'm sorry, it's the way it is, but not anymore, most men work and women stay home. And that's the way I was raised, and that's the way, although my wife does work, but she runs a nonprofit and all that, and others and other things. But she was home more than I, and she had so at the end when I would get home, she'd go, "Here, take this kid," right? So it's exhausting.
The thing that ages me, and it's not very rare with my kids, but when the phone rings in the middle of the night and I see it's one of them, your mind goes
panic.
to, oh my God, somebody's in an accident. It's nothing like that. But it's very rare that happens, and I've never been right. It's always been.
Right. Well, I remember my father could never sleep.
Yeah.
And I was probably in my late 20s, early 30s, and I have an older brother and sister. And I said, Dad, why don't you sleep? And he said, because I have children.
Yeah.
And we were in our 30s,
I've
20s and
heard
30s.
that,
And that's the way it is until you die.
When I was living at home, my mother said I never went to sleep until you came home.
Yep.
Even if I was out on a Friday night with my friends.
And
she
that
says I couldn't-
ages you. It
I
wears
guess.
you down.
But my question is, when you had, when your girl was very young, didn't you start to experience like watching cartoons with her and things that
Sure.
would keep you younger and make you remember when you were a kid?
Oh,
things, first
of course.
bicycle.
Mentally, yes.
Oh, you took-
Spiritually, yes. Physically,
Oh, okay.
I'm getting too old for this shit. I'm getting too old for this shit. Too old for this shit. I'm too old for this.
I'm too old for this shit.
I'm too old for this shit.
you just can't keep. I mean,
makes
children have endless energy, but so and that's what ages you. But the excuse me. Here's the thing about old age and getting older that bothers me more than anything is you'll see an old man or an old woman, and people just move. They want them to move aside. They go around them. Oh, you're in my way, damn it! And you see it. And I'm guilty of it too. When you're driving, there's this old person in front of you. God, you go around it, move.
Yeah.
And what bothers me, and it really bothers me, is that person, at one point in their life, was out there, killing it, doing it,
chasing girls,
going
chasing guys,
and dancing, going to nightclubs, and doing whatever dances they were doing back in the 50s and 60s, and now they're just
sitting on a park bench.
But now they're just old, and they're not you.
A very old guy, a friend of mine knew this old guy. He was like 97. His 2 kids had passed away. His wife had passed away, and he said to my friend, he said, I go get a coffee. He was still, could move around and walk and stuff like that. He would walk down to get some coffee. He said, nobody wants to make friends with a 90-year-old. And he said, and I see guys 70, and I say hi, and they'll say hi, but no one wants to say, hey, we should go to
hang
lunch,
out.
we should hang out, I mean, I don't even want to make friends with people who are my age, but I can understand at 90, and old people, all their friends are dead, or a lot of them are dying. And
you should date women your own age. Have you seen women my own age?
Yeah.
Anyway, the point of the story, or the whole point of this, is my take on it is, don't get old. See up my nose with the